district as a lieutenant governor and district secretary treasurer. And this year, I'm very lucky to be supporting our admin team with anything that they need to help support the advisors in our district. So I look forward to working with everyone over the course of this service year. And if you have any questions or need any information, please feel free to reach out to me at keyclub@swdkiwanis.org. Alrighty, so for today's agenda, we are going to introduce our admin team. We're going to go through the Membership Update Center and the Officer Certification Form. We're also going to touch on dues and how we can pay them, contests and awards, finding resources, and district and international events, along with club attendance.
And I think, actually, let me stop sharing the screen so that we can see everybody. And I will ask, I'll call in the order that you guys are on my screen to unmute yourself, introduce yourself, say where you are from and the areas that you support. So Miss Crystal, you are first on my list.
Hello, everyone. I'm Crystal Claudio. I am the advisor for Apollo Key Club. This is my 19th year doing it. I also am on the admin team, so I'm the zone administrator for Black Canyon Division and McDowell Mountain and Lookout Mountain, I think, yeah. So kind of North Phoenix, Northwest Phoenix, kind of. But yeah, glad to be here.
Thank you, Crystal. And Mr. Don, you are next across my screen.
Okay, I'm Don Townsend. I'm the zone administrator for Southern Arizona, and I have the San Pedro division. And I'm the only one here from a huge town of Sierra Vista. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Heather, it looks like I've got you next. Oh, and we cannot hear you. You're unmuted, but we could not hear you. So how about if I say, this is wave Heather, giving the thumbs up. Heather is from Rio Rancho High School. She has been a faculty advisor and has joined the admin team for 4 years. She's joined the admin team this year in support of our Sandia Mountain Division, which is the Albuquerque Metro. And let's see, next on my list, it looks like I have Mr. Mel.
Hi guys, Mel Otten. I am zone administrator for the West Phoenix area. So White Tanks and Estrella, we just split that. Before that, I just retired from teaching, but I was the faculty advisor for 8 years at Paradise Honors High School. And I am currently also now the Kiwanis advisor for Sun City West. So I'm wearing a lot of hats and here if you need me.
Should know we all wear a lot of hats in this game. And it looks like scanning through, hopefully I'm not missing anyone. It looks like last and certainly not least, but the last to join our team this year was Miss Lisa Ann.
Hi, my picture's off. I'm sorry. I'm dealing with a slab leak at my house. I'm Lisa Ann Schoenbrunn. I am in El Paso, Texas, where I'm the advisor. I'm also the NHS advisor, and I'm the college career readiness teacher at Franklin High School. And I'm the zone administrator for Rio Grande.
Super. So we have, let me go back and share the screen again. We have some members of our fantastic team who could not join us today. And they also represent different areas of our wonderful Southwest District. Miss Betsy is Northern New Mexico. Kathy, is Kathy on here? Kathy's traveling, so she might not.
I think she's at a CNH event right now.
Oh, that's right. So Miss Kathy covers our Tempe and what I would call Southeast Phoenix metro area. And then Miss Stephanie, who has the grand territory of all of Northern New Mexico and all of all of Northern Arizona and all of Southern New Mexico. And she's at a golf tournament that her Kiwanis Club is hosting today. We also have two fantastic Kiwanians that help us out with projects. Jerry Whaling is involved with our contests and awards, and Mr. Jeff Rowe helps out with our board meetings. And for those who don't know me, I'm Karen Church. I am your district administrator, which is just the fancy way of saying that I'm the Kiwanis volunteer who's appointed to work with these wonderful students that we have and make sure that you as advisors have the support and the direction that you need. So let's.
Karen, can I
Yeah.
say hello?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I can't see pictures.
It's Pamela Boynton. It's Pamela Boynton with Kiwanis Club of Glendale.
Hi, Pamela. We actually, thank you for joining us. We've got a lot that we've got to cover in about 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. So I'm just an advisor for Ironwood High School this year. Last year, for the last 3 years, I was advisor at Cactus High School. And this past August, which just came past, I have been a Kiwanin for 20 years. I'm done.
That's fantastic. Excellent. So it looks like we are jumping into a conversation about our near and dear friend, the Membership Update Center. The Membership Update Center, and let me do this, Miss Maya, I do not have my list of the screens that we're sharing. So if I start talking over your presentation, you have 100% permission to cut me off, all right?
You're all good, Karen.
Super. So the Membership Update Center is the Key Club International database, and it has 3 main functions other than annoying us. That's the 4th function. It is the depository of important club information. So if you are ever wondering, geez, when was my Key Club chartered? You can find that in the Membership Update Center. The address of your club, the advisors to your club, and if they're put in there, the officers of your club. We probably, as advisors, are most familiar with it in terms of it being where we hold the roster of our key clubs and where we generate dues. The other, my counting's off. That's why I'm an attorney, not a mathematician. There's 4 main roles: the depository of important information, the roster, generating dues invoices, and new for this year is training modules. They've put in a fantastic video training module with little test yourselves to make sure you got everything at the end, information for advisors. So if you have not completed that online training, definitely go check that out. Now the biggest key to the Membership Update Center is that only certain people can access it. I can promise you that advisors and secretaries can access it. I've heard rumors that presidents can access it, but I'm not entirely positive on that. And the trick is that the advisors and the secretaries can only access it if they are listed already in the Membership Update Center as an advisor or a secretary. So that's the key, especially if you are a new advisor and you're saying, how do I access this crazy thing? Step 1 is we need to get you in this system. And then after that, you'll have access. So let's jump in a little bit more detail on accessing the Membership Update Center. For those of you who are veterans, you know all about this. For those of you who are new, keyclub.org/muck will take you to a place where you can choose Membership Update Center, and you'll be treated to a login screen that looks somewhat like this. The email that you'll use is the email that Key Club uses to contact you. And the password is a password that you set up. And if you have no idea, because last year was a long time ago, if you can't remember what that password was, you can see there's a little change my password or change the password button, where you can change your password and get that taken care of for you. Again, if you are a new advisor, don't use the password and login information that was given to you by somebody in the past. Get your own login information. You've got to be in the system or you're not getting communications anyway. So let's just get you all set up correctly. And thank you, Heather, for saying last year you were able to get your treasurer access. And I think that if you ask member services, you can probably get anybody access. But you know, you certainly, as I said, advisors and secretaries, I know it's built into the system. Oh, and I should have said at the beginning, here's our plan. Is we've got a lot of technical information to run through in a very short time. But after we do these breakouts, we're going to have some more general information in a general session. And then at the end, the students are all going to go into division breakout rooms. I thought we could all jump into another breakout room of our own where you guys can ask any questions and we can have like a more conversation and a less of just throwing information at you. So if you have questions, go ahead, type them in the chat and we will park them there and we'll come back to them as we get to that final wrap-up session. So using the mock, as I said, it's got a couple of different elements for you guys. The most important coming up is going to be updating your roster. You want to start by deleting all students who have graduated. And you can kind of see on that top picture how you can choose the graduation year. So you can select 2022 and it will filter for all the students that graduated last year and you can just delete them. If you have non-returning students, you'll need to go in and individually delete each of them. Hopefully we don't have any of those, but should you have to have that done. And then once you get rid of everybody who's not returning, then you go in and you add the new members. Adding new members individually generally works very well. Sometimes there's some hiccups to the bulk add member. So just know, have a little bit of patience if you're trying to do that. And the bottom picture gives you the screen of what the individual add member looks like. The important information that we need in the Key Club system is their name, their email address, preferably a non-school email so that we don't have firewall issues, and then their graduation year. The form, as you can see, asks for a whole bunch of other information, which honestly is not used. The MUC is also used for dues payment, but we're going to talk more about that in a minute. Lastly, I said kind of new is that there is this training module. And so the top picture is a picture of what the login looks like when you log in as an advisor for your club. And so you can see here, this is my login for Pinnacle High School. And there is an education, little graduation cap there that you click on, and then you get this screen. And here is your Key Club advisor training, Introduction to Key Club International. If you've been an advisor for 20 years, you probably are not going to learn much new when you go through this video. But if you are a new advisor this year or a COVID advisor where you've joined in the past year or two, it's actually a pretty good little video. So go ahead, go through the modules. Doesn't take a tremendous amount of time, and I found them rather informative. So I would encourage you to do that. So that is the introduction to our MUC. It's our main database, stores information, holds the roster, generates the dues invoices, and has your training modules. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Maya.
Thank you, Karen. All right, now for our officer certification form. So this is a Google form sheet detailing the officers, faculty, and Kiwanis advisors for each club. So it's the responsibility of your club secretary to fill out the form with the corresponding information for each officer, whether it's a phone number, email, and position. And then this is super important for us because it gives district officers access to club officer information. So we can communicate with them between the lieutenant governor and the club for information about PCMs, GCMs, and district events, along with their divisional events. So the district doesn't have the ability to access the officer information from the membership update center, which is why we require the officer certification form to be filled out.
And I would be willing to bet that most of you have been somewhat bombarded by your lieutenant governors asking you to get this information filled out, because they get it from me and from their zone administrators. You know, how are you contacting your clubs? How are you coordinating your information with them? And if they don't have their officer contact, they're like a duck out of water. They can't do anything. So getting that officer certification form completed is a real priority for all of our lieutenant governors at this time of year. All right, so let's talk about dues, because that's going to be one of the first things that you guys as advisors are going to be dealing with. Dues have not changed for quite some time. You know, that may or may not hold true for the future. We'll just have to see what international does. But the way that dues work right now is dues are a minimum of $12 per member. And that is divided up. $5 is for district expenses and $7 is for international. Now, clubs are also welcome to assess club level dues, but the way that the Key Club International bylaws work is they should not exceed $7. Now, before any of you panic because you're thinking, oh my gosh, how are we going to get t-shirts and stuff for $7? That $7 is dues. There's not a limit on the fees that a club can assess. So if you have t-shirt fees, or if you have snack fees, or whatever that might be, that's a totally separate issue. But and some of you may not charge club dues at all, which is totally fine. That's up to you guys. So then the $12 per member is what's submitted to Key Club International. And I know that's kind of confusing because I just said, well, $5 is for the district and $7 is for international, but international collects it all. And then they send $5 back to the district. So what do dues go towards? Dues go at the district level to our board meeting expenses and travel. You know, we spend a fair amount of resources getting the district board trained to support you and your clubs and your officers, and to get prepared for our district convention, our annual leadership conference. And then we also have events like this and programs that we put on throughout the year. So that's what that $5 goes towards. At the international level, dues go towards membership materials, the cards, the handbooks, the pins. They go towards the international convention and a number of international programs. And then, of course, you know, they're a big corporation, so they have offices and staff and, you know, some administrative expenses. How to pay the dues. Again, if you're a seasoned advisor, you've been through this. This is not your first rodeo. For those of you who are new, the process of paying dues is a multi-step, shall we say. First is you collect, unless your club has a treasury that's paying for the dues, you will collect the dues from your member. And remember to gather that information that I said, their name, their email, and their class year. Once you have collected the dues from your members, you complete your roster in the membership update center, like we just talked about. And once you're happy with it, you press roster complete print invoice, which on this top slide you can see, that's what it's going to look like in your membership update center. And once that button is pressed, that will generate an invoice in your finances tab of the membership update center. And so here you can see that there is an invoice that's ready to be paid that can be printed and submitted with a check, or can be paid via credit card. So all of that is done through the Membership Update Center. And
Karen, may I
yeah.
ask a question? We've
Yeah.
had kids join or transfer mid-semester, and can they still join after the December 1st date?
Yes, in fact, that is, we're going to be talking about dates on the next slide, I think. And we have the very first date that we run into with dues is the early bird dues. And so with early bird dues deadline is November 1st. And a lot of clubs really like to do that because you get patch and you get a recognition at district convention. But let's say that you have a couple kids who are just really dragging their heels on getting their dues in. Well, even though you're pressing this roster complete button, you can still add students later. So if you want to get that early bird patch, you can go ahead and submit the 17 kids who have paid and get your dues in for those 17 and then add people later. And then, you know, same with somebody who joins later in the semester or second semester additions. You can always add people in. Just remember that you add them into the roster and then a new invoice will be generated for them. You know, Heather has put a great comment in the chat about bookstores or other vehicles that you guys use for your accounting and your accounts payable. I can promise you we're going to get to January, and there are going to be some of you who say, I submitted that invoice to my bookstore in December. And you know what? I'm going to believe you, because we have bookstores are notorious on either being slow or sometimes, unfortunately, just not paying stuff. So you always want to make sure, as this last comment says, follow up, whether it's an account payable or your bookstore, whoever is sending the physical money in, follow up until you're comfortable that you've seen that they've sent it off. Because especially if you're going for like early bird, just giving it to your bookstore, unfortunately, does not always mean that it's getting paid right away. So you want to keep an eye out for that. Am I doing this too, Maya? I think so, right?
Yes, you are.
Perfect. Just real quickly on contests and awards, we'll be talking more about contests and awards as the year goes on, but we've had some changes, so I do not want people working on things that are no longer relevant. So a couple changes in the year in review, aka scrapbooks. Non-traditional scrapbook is eliminated. Those of you who have been around, certainly pre-COVID and past district conventions, know the great construction items that would come into district convention to highlight club activities throughout the year. Just for logistic reasons, International realized super fun idea, but not very practical for a competition. So no traditional scrapbooks this year. No international judging on traditional scrapbooks. Southwest District has yet to determine if we will have a district level competition on traditional scrapbooks. I'm probably leaning towards continuing that at the district level, but kind of for the same reason International wants to get away from having physical things at the judging at the international convention. However, that did bring about the creation of a new category last year, the digital scrapbook category. So this is an electronic version of a scrapbook. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully your clubs are doing scrapbooking. Your historians are out there taking pictures, and you'll have these great memories of your year. But just keep in mind, as far as contests go, the one for sure we'll have is the digital scrapbook, and you will be advised later in the year on whether we're doing a traditional scrapbook. Don't spend effort doing a non-traditional, because that's no longer a thing. There is a new contest this year called the Signature Project Contest. Those of you who are Kiwanians are familiar with this concept of a signature project. It is kind of, as the name suggests, it is how the community recognizes this Key Club. So it is a project that a club has done in the past and continues, kind of like an annual thing, which it has become known for, whether it's in the community or on campus. So that's a new contest this year. International is still kind of working through their plan on how they're going to roll that out. But for those of you who have your thing, know that there's now going to be a contest for that. And then the last thing I want to say about the annual, about contests is most of you, hopefully, if you're on my distribution list at the beginning of, or at the end of the summer, received a newsletter that talked about the annual achievement report as a great way to plan your year. The 22-23 annual achievement report is now out, and we've put a link to it on our website under the resources tab. So I highly, highly recommend, especially if you are a new advisor and you're like, oh, I'm so excited about this Key Club stuff, what do I do? The club achievement, the annual achievement report is a great roadmap for you to help you kind of work through all of the different things that make a Key Club a Key Club. All right, now I get to be quiet for a while, right, Maya?
No, Karen, we love having you talk.
No, I need a drink of water.
All right, so now for finding resources, the Southwest has put together a lot of really helpful resources on our website. So that's swdkeyclub.org/advisors. So in there we have different advisor guides, membership growth, their membership growth and retention booklet, and then our Facebook and Instagram sites, not Facegram. But we have kind of getting in the system, new advisory resources, places you can go for help in different important Google Forms for throughout the school year. And additional international resources can be found out at keyclub.org/grouping/advisors. So for a word of caution, they might not always be up to date, but some of the information there is still really good. They have a lot of new advisor booklets and kind of top 10s for newer Key Clubs for advisors looking for things to do with their club, and just a lot of new club resources.
And then I added a little note in there. There's good stuff on there, but I noticed when I was looking at it yesterday that it's not always totally up to date. For example, the Key Club guidebook that's posted on there, it hasn't been updated this year, which in some respects is not a big deal because a lot of the stuff doesn't change. The bylaws don't change that much from year to year, but the contests do. So just be aware that, some of the information that's posted on the international site may have a little refreshing done throughout the year.
Right. Right, and then kind of our calendar for the year with district and international events. So we have Camp Fall Rally coming up first from November 11th through 13th. That's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that'll be up in Prescott, Arizona. We have the virtual Global Engagement Rally put on by Key Club International. That is November 19th and is completely virtual. We have the Southwest District Convention, which is March 17th through 19th in El Paso, Texas. We have Key Club International Convention in July 2023. That will be in Anaheim, California. And then we have Key Leader coming up at a date that is to be determined. So another great way to kind of keep an eye for these details is on our district website at southwestdistrictkeyclub.org. All right. I'm going to turn it back over to Karen.
Excellent. So let me take a second to throw a side note to Danny and Jeffrey. can you guys go see how our breakout rooms are doing in terms of timing for covering their content? Because we're a little ahead of schedule, but I don't want to keep the breakout rooms open if they've already covered their stuff.
Will do.
Thank you. All right, so while they are doing that, let me stop sharing my slides so we can all see each other. All right. So until I hear that our other officers are ready to close out the breakout rooms, let's have some discussions. You know, how many of you, do you guys know how to use the little reactions button at the bottom of your screen? Using the reactions button, put a thumbs up if you are a new advisor within the past 3 years. So we've got a number. Got a lot. Excellent. Welcome, guys. We are so happy to have you. So I know one of the things when we brought Miss Maya on to help our admin team is one of the things we were looking at is possibly scheduling some advisor get-togethers, especially targeted towards the new advisors, because we know that you guys may have more questions than those who have been doing it for 20 years. And is that something, feel free to unmute, is that something that you guys would find useful if we did some roundtables like once a quarter or something like that?
Certainly.
I do. I think it'd be a great idea.
Excellent. All right. Any thoughts on, I know probably some of you are just kind of overwhelmed at this point. Any thoughts on things that you would like to cover in those?
I think I'd like to do a little bit more on membership recruitment. We're really good at it. We're at over 200 members, but I just want to make sure, how do we retain them once we get them in?
Yeah, you know, and if you talk to any of the students, that's exactly what they say is, you know, you start out at the beginning of the year like gangbusters, and then you get to January and February and nobody's signing up to do service projects, and, you know, well, I shouldn't say very few, but the number of people attending meetings is much less. So, you know, that's a major issue.
Well, and I know some join just for their resume. Totally get that they just join for their resume, and that's fine, but they still need to meet that minimum requirement in order to get that senior cord that comes out of our dues that we charge them for.
Well, and Lisa Ann, I'm glad you said the senior cord, because for those who haven't checked out the our Southwest District website, which I'll put in the chat for those who maybe aren't familiar to it. Can't talk and type at the same time. We have under the resources, we have some good resources. Maya shared with you the advisor support page that has some links that you guys can check out, some additional information. We have resources on dues that explain you know, how much they are, how you pay them, a nice little video to walk you through updating your roster. One of the resources that's shared on there is a membership recruitment and retainment guide. And when the students were putting that together a couple of years ago, the incentives were really what they found might be helpful. So the fact that you have to go to service events in the second semester to get your cord, or even that they're giving cords out at all. But, you know, maybe it's a certificate. What do some of you guys do to recognize your students that might serve as an incentive to keep them involved in the second semester? And feel free to just unmute and speak up. You guys are so quiet. Crystal, Mel, what are some things that you guys did?
We do the cords, but it is very clear that you have to have 50 hours by March done, and the preference is Key Club hours. I do let them bring in hours from outside, about 20 a quarter, but the cord and their scholarship applications, they need to be Key Club hours. And then we do a senior gift and almost this little senior, as part of our end of year ceremony, we do a little senior ceremony and we make them something. We've been kind of making either little bulletin boards or kind of their own little scrapbook page or whatever it is.
I want to say, can
Go
I
ahead.
just, I just want to say, I want to applaud Crystal, because I think she is one of the best advisors that Key Club has ever had, no matter what state we're talking about. And one thing, as far as getting the kids to do everything that she does an outstanding job on. And I think just telling the students that unless they participate in the last part of it, they're not applicable, or they're not able to get the opportunity to get a scholarship from us.
Pamela, I think that's an excellent point too. And you know, that Lisa Ann had talked about people choosing to put things on a resume, which, you know, I get that. That's fine as long as they're active in Key Club. You know, I'm not in favor of somebody saying that they're a Key Club member, paying their $12, putting it on a resume and doing nothing else. But if they're an active member, if that's what draws them there, that's great. If it's a scholarship opportunity, that's wonderful too.
The other thing, Karen, is, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead and finish. Sorry.
No, I was done.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was done. Go ahead, Lisa Ann.
We use a free program that I was telling a bunch of advisors about at Decon called Interview, INNERVIEW. And it is the best thing to document all your hours. It's free. Again, it's free. It's hooked up with the United Nations and their global affairs. There are 30 goals for ending hunger and compassion and community and environment. And it's free to do. The kids create their own account, and they can use this account from the age of 13 until the age of 24. So it works all the way through college. So when they get into K Club in college, they can use it, into the college world, they can use it as well. And it's a link that you can attach to any resume, attach to any college applications. So it's been very beneficial for us. And I think maybe it's something we can bring up at one of the roundtables, because it's been fabulous. And did I mention that it's free?
You know, and Lisa Ann, that was actually one of the things that I thought might be a good topic for one of our advisor get-togethers that we did. So Maya, write that one down too.
And then I'm putting it in the chat, but the lady's name at Interview is Jen Mosen. And it's super easy. The kids they have to take a picture with them in it at whatever service project they are to document it. So that's what saved us on a lot of parent arguments for cords and things like that. Because there's always that one parent who's like, my kid needs a cord. Well, your kid documented nothing. And so it's great for National Honor Society, Key Club. You can add Stuco, and you can have everything under one account, and the kids can log it to whatever organization or group they need to log it to. And then they get recognized by the United Nations when they've hit 40 hours and over 100 hours. They actually get a certificate in the mail, a whole packet in the mail with stickers and their pictures and their projects on it at the end of the school year. And it's just been such a neat thing for our kids to receive.
Yeah, that sounds so cool. And Erica, I see you have your hand up. Before we go to you, Danny, can you pop in for our secretaries and our class reps and give them a 5-minute notice?
Will do.
All right, thanks, Danny. Miss Erica.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can, yeah.
Oh, okay. What I've done in the past with my Key Clubs is spacing out the service projects so they aren't all completed in the first half. And also encouraging the ones that are leaving or the upperclassmen to recruit for the younger ones coming in. So having them involved with the Builders Club will ensure that you have a rotation going on. So like this year we have Verado that's mentoring K-Kids and Builders and Verado to mentor them so they have a going flow of members coming into Key Club. So those are some ideas that we've done, because we're mentoring Key Clubs so that Key Club can be mentors to the world. So why not start with K Kids and Builders?
I love that. And last year, I'll have to dig out the resource in the spring semester, but last year our Kiwanis Family Committee put together a Builders Club kit that Key Clubs can use to go talk to Builders Clubs about continuing their service in the Kiwanis family, because I'm all in favor of those younger kids in the program getting to know the high school students so that they, you know, want to emulate them and continue on. Miss Liz.
I lost my mouse. Sorry, it takes me a minute. Okay, so
You muted yourself again. Your mouse is fighting you.
okay, it's my lack of mouse, it's my finger. So, okay, so last year we started one at Fairfax and it's been going great. One of the things that we started doing is having some sustainable ongoing relationship programs. So they are partnering up with our preschool. They're fortunate to have an actual operating preschool on campus. So with the oldest kids working with the youngest kids, having a relationship with them, things like that, that they are mentors and they're right on campus doing it for that project. It keeps them involved. And as long as they've been really good at getting out, we have plenty of things for them to do. We help them and they help us. But I think just that relationship building, because you just kind of walk away from a relationship. So if they have a 3-year-old that they're working with and mentoring and reading to, and that they aren't so apt to just kind of walk away and not show up because that little child is there waiting for them. So they learn right away to how to form relationships too. So things like that kind of projects have been doing really good to keep them involved. We didn't lose anybody last year and we had a lot graduated this year. They're almost up to 50 already. And that's just since school just started. So having, I think those kind of programs that you're, as Eric was saying, just working on things together, they have a purpose for it, but also they see that they have a responsibility for the people that they've taken on to mentor also.
Super, excellent. Thanks, Liz. So Vincent had a question, and there are a number of folks on this call who remember when Dysart High School Key Club was the kingpin of the Southwest District. But we also, those of us who have been around a while, know that it's faced challenges and a lot of rebuilding lately. So can anybody share their top #1 recruitment tool for building a Key Club? And I'll start it off by saying what I hear from the kids, which is pizza.
Mm-hmm. If you feed them, they will come.
Yes.
But the other thing we did is we literally put the QR code up to join all over the school. We had over 200 kids click on that QR code. We held the first meeting. We had 170 some had to go, to the afternoon classes and things like that on a bus. But we did really well just by posting it up and making announcements and a phone message to all the parents. And last year's members were told to bring 2 new members, and that helped as well.
Excellent. All right, we have time for one other idea. Your best membership recruitment.
We play Kahoot games, and there's candy bar prizes for 2nd and 3rd place, and that seems to be enjoyable to them. And then 1 meeting a month, we do a project afterwards. So last Thursday, we made blessing bag cards for St. Vincent de Paul. Any food bank would love to have them. They put them in their little boxes or their lunch bags, anything. It's super easy, not a lot needed for it. And so we're keeping them there after school so they can start bonding with other kids.
Excellent. So I need to close out the breakout rooms, but let's continue this great discussion at the end. When the students go to talk in their divisions, we'll circle back around again and we can answer any questions that you guys have and share some more ideas.
Karen, can I just say one thing?
Yes.
If there's any key clubbers, advisors in New Mexico, we are still short volunteers if they want to fundraise for the balloon fiesta, which is in 2 weeks. They can contact me.
Very
I
good.
would love you so much if you guys volunteered and signed up your kids. I would love you to